From the real-life Jungle Book to a lion who adopted her prey. Stay tuned to number 1 to hear about the strangest animal couples. Number 10. Shere, Baloo and Leo. How amazing would it be if the Jungle Book came to life? Well, it sort of did at a Georgia animal sanctuary. Believe it or not, a lion, a tiger, and a bear grew up together and managed to become the best of friends. Their story starts out pretty sad, but ends happily ever after. The 3 wild animals were owned by a drug dealer who mistreated them for years. Their owner was eventually arrested, but not before Baloo, the bear, needed surgery to remove a harness that was stuck to him from years of neglect. Fortunately, the surgery went perfectly, and all 3 animals were able to stay together at the sanctuary. Today, the trio live happily at Noah's Ark Animal Sanctuary in Georgia. Despite their differences in species, the 3 get along great and are enjoyed by visitors on a regular basis. Number 9. An orangutan and a hound. There are few similarities between dogs and monkeys. Hair, fur. Okay, so that's about it. But when an orangutan and a hound found each other, nobody expected the duo to make friends. Yet somehow, they did. In 2006, a conservationist named Doc Antle, owner of an animal sanctuary in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, found a stray dog near his property. When the dog followed him home, and after he made a few phone calls to see if anyone was missing a dog, he figured he would just keep him as a pet. However, the dog instantly took a liking to an orangutan on the property. Doc kept the dog and allowed him to play with the orangutan whenever he wanted. Turns out, they wanted to play all the time. The 2 still live at the sanctuary and are inseparable from one another. No one is really sure why, but Doc sure doesn't mind 2 of his pets getting along, even if they are wildly different from one another. Number 8. A buck and a duck. Before we touch base on this tongue twister combo, don't forget to like this video by using the buttons below. While you're there, join the Zero to Hero community by subscribing to our channel. And don't forget to click that little notification bell too, so you can always stay up to date on our latest happenings. Nothing seems like a better combination than the rhyming duo of a buck and a duck. But could this pair ever work out? Wouldn't the buck just wait for the bird to leave her eggs behind and enjoy a snack? Well, luckily for her, deer aren't carnivorous. When these 2 met in Buffalo, New York, they became instant friends. To make things weird from the start, this duck lived in the cemetery in Buffalo where she laid her eggs. The only problem was that she didn't seem to have a mate to help her take care of the eggs. That's where the buck comes in. A deer wandered into the cemetery and started watching guard over mother duck and her eggs. After the eggs hatched, the buck stuck around to protect the family and become the new dad in a way. A strange combination. The buck and the duck became local celebrities due to their odd friendship. Number 7. An elephant and a dog. Size can be a definite issue when it comes to animal friendships. After all, if one can easily crush the other, the friendship is likely to fail. But size means nothing to this elephant and dog duo from Tennessee. In fact, these 2 mismatched animals love to play, eat, and even sleep near one another. Conservationist Carol Buckley, owner of an elephant sanctuary in Tennessee, came across a dog one day while walking near her property. She noticed that the dog really took a liking to farming equipment nearby. When she brought the dog home, the fascination with all things large continued the moment she met one of the elephants. What's even more amazing is that the elephant took to the dog just as much. Despite the size difference, the elephant treated the dog like her own child, carefully stepping around her wherever she went and playing with her all the time. When the dog got hurt, the elephant even held a vigil near the house while the dog recuperated. Carol Buckley has no idea why these 2 like each other so much, but she doesn't mind it one bit. Number 6. An elephant and a sheep. Speaking of elephants, they don't just take to dogs all the time. They also can make friends with sheep. Who knew, right? How or why this happens, we'll never really understand. Themba, the elephant, was very young when his mother passed away suddenly. He was brought to an animal sanctuary in South Africa where conservationists helped him to join a new family of elephants. At first, they needed to transition him into his new environment. but also needed him to interact with someone at the sanctuary. When they put a sheep in his pen, they became instant friends, surprising the keepers and the visitors. Unfortunately, Themba passed away from an intestinal issue before he could be released back into the wild. On the plus side, he had a good time living with his sheep friend and the other elephants of the sanctuary for a while. Another example of unique friendships forming in the animal kingdom. Number 5. A cheetah and a dog. Dogs and cats should never get along. At least, all the cartoons say so, right? And this should be the case between dogs and big cats, too. In this case, a dog and a cheetah never got the memo because these two managed to become best of friends. At the Cincinnati Zoo in Ohio, a dog and a cheetah happened to come together and immediately took a liking to one another. They are part of a program designed to help teach farmers in Africa how to train dogs to protect livestock rather than to attack. Somehow, a cheetah managed to find its way into the dog program and instantly became good friends with one of them. No one is really sure why these two are so close. They do everything together, from playing to eating and everything in between. However it happened, these two proved that the classic dog versus cat story doesn't always have to be a thing, even if the cartoons say so. Number 4. An old turtle and a hippo. Turtles and hippos rarely ever hang out. Usually they don't even meet. But when circumstances allowed it this time, it led to a wild friendship that nobody saw coming. In 2004, when a tsunami hit near Indonesia, it sent waves as far as the west coast of Africa. Unfortunately, it also swept away a family of hippos, all except for the youngest, who was later rescued and brought to an animal sanctuary. That's where he met a friendly old tortoise, about 130 years old to be exact. Both animals became friends right away and even inspired a children's book about their unique friendship. Today, they live with their own species at the sanctuary, but they will forever be remembered for their unusual pairing and unique circumstances that brought the pair together. Number 3. A snake and a hamster. Okay, this matchup should just never happen, but it did. Although snakes usually eat mice and not hamsters, this should have ended as a happy feast for the snake, but instead it led to a friendship for both animals. A snake at a zoo in Tokyo, Japan was not eating the frozen mice it was being given by the zookeepers. So they tried offering him an exciting live snack in the form of a hamster. But to their surprise, he didn't eat this meal either. Instead, he began to play with it, and it played back. The unique pair became a bit with the guests of the zoo, and so they were allowed to stay together. They still live together in the same pen at the zoo, and the snake now eats regularly, but luckily, not his friend. Let's just hope that the snake doesn't suddenly change his mind about his furry roommate. Number 2. A lion and his humans. It's not every day you find a lion cub at a department store, but that's exactly what was there in 1969 London when Ace Bourke and John Rendell adopted a lion cub. The big cat, named Christian, was an immediate part of the family for the two. As the cat got bigger, they tried their best to take care of him, but it became too hard given the limited space of their home. They had to let him go. So they contacted a conservationist in Kenya. Transporting the cat to Africa, they were able to get him acquainted with another lion family who took him in. But Bourke and Rendell missed their friend. So a year later, they traveled to Kenya for a visit. Not knowing exactly what to expect, they managed to find Christian and he leapt right up to them, knowing exactly who they were. The story made worldwide news years later and proved that animals make deep connections with us just as we do with them. Number 1. A lion adopts her dinner. Certain species should not get along at all, and how this friendship happened, no one really knows. When a lioness and an antelope took a liking to one another, nobody knew what to think. At an animal sanctuary in Kenya, a lioness named Kamuniak happened to befriend an antelope that was meant to be her meal. It seemed cute at first, but after a while, neither animal would eat near one another. So it posed a problem for both animals. The animals were separated, and eventually Kamuniak learned from other lions how to hunt antelope and eventually joined in. However, she would go on to befriend a few more antelopes in the area, refusing to attack. A very strange combination that had not been seen at the sanctuary and was never seen again, but it warmed the hearts of everyone on the staff. Tell us what you think about these amazing animal couples in the comments below, and take care.